Thank you for joining Buildable Office Hours, April 17th, 2025. If you have not attended some of our office hours previously, my name is Justin Lapier, and I am the CEO of Buildable. I am running these office hours right now, but members of my team will be, joining in here in the future and starting to run some of these sessions. But just wanted to kick this off to kind of talk more about Buildable, some of the product updates that we have coming within the product, some updates that we actually have from our previous office hours that we had last week on the 10th. And you can see all those recordings on YouTube if you want to go back and watch those at any point on our YouTube channel. And then today we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a demo. We're going to create just a simple employee application that has, that tracks some of your employee data in the system. And we're going to take a spreadsheet that we have with this employee data and actually import it in. We'll talk about what, the benefits of doing that and why you would do that in Buildable. But we'll get into the demo here in a little bit. I wanted to kick off today and just update, give out some product updates that are going to be coming. So right now we are, working on a few different bugs that we're dealing with a few of the fields, and that should be implemented here in the next couple days. We are also working on the mobile version of Buildable, and the team is making great progress on the mobile version because we realize, while teams that are utilizing Buildable, they may be out in the field, they may not be behind their computer at the time, and we still want them to be able to have the power of Buildable in their hands. So you'll be able to, not even with a native mobile app, but just a mobile-friendly version of Buildable, you'll be able to access that on your mobile phones here. More streamlined. You can currently do it, but it's not streamlined for mobile. It'll be streamlined for mobile in the next couple weeks. Now, the one thing to kind of comment on that is on mobile, the mobile version of Buildable is going to be geared more towards reviewing your data and actually adding data into the system. The mobile version is not going to have the power to actually develop the application and modify it. That's going to be strictly for the computer because you need the functionality of your computer, the keyboard, the mouse, and everything like that to actually modify the system. So the mobile version of Buildable is going to be utilized for actually using the application. And more to come on that here in the future, the near future. We discussed this in last week's office hours, but we are going to be releasing a template CRM that will be coming into the product here shortly. That means that any account that signs up for Buildable, whether it's a free account or a paid account, will actually have a link within their product to click on to get a free CRM. And this is going to be a pre-built CRM that has tables, fields, dashboards, reports, pretty much you name it. That's going to be the first iteration of our template system. We will have other templates in the future for other types of tasks like marketing systems, project management systems. And we are going to have the functionality to allow customers to actually build apps that they submit to the template center that others can use. So that will be coming in the very near future. And the kind of the last component that we are working on also right now is the public API. That kind of got put on the back burner a little bit while we worked on some of our templates, but the public API is going to be released in the very near future soon. What does that mean? That means that Buildable is going to be able to talk to other systems. In a simple, people call it integrations, things like that, but the more simplified is it's just going to be able to talk to other systems. Once you have an API, that's like putting a front door on your house, and things can come in and out. You just need a key to get in, and that's what the API is going to allow you to do here in the near future. So now that's our main product updates for today. Now updates from previous office hours. So on the last office hours, we actually had a question about our sidebar. The sidebar within Buildable, which I'll show here in a second, we allow you to collapse that sidebar. Well, currently when you collapse the sidebar no longer shows at all, and you have to hover over an area to show that information, the tables and various information, which I'll show in the product here in a second. Based on the office hours that we had this last week, and this shows you the power of having customers come to these office hours and give us feedback, we are actually implementing a different version of the sidebar. So, and I can show a little video of this in a second, but that version of the sidebar is still going to allow you to collapse it, but when you collapse it, it's not going to go entirely away. It's just going to be minimized and only show you a little bit of information, but allow you to still click on it and use it to its full functionality. So that's, some great feedback that we had in the last office hours with one of our customers. And because of that, we're using that user feedback and we are improving the product to make it easier on our customers. So the more feedback we get, the better we can improve this product, and you as customers are the ones that are going to be driving how the product is modified, features are added, changed. We want it to work for you, the customer, and we want it to be, the product that allows you to do the work you need to do in a streamlined fashion with less clicks. So thank you for that feedback that we received last week, and we'll be implementing that here shortly. So let me go ahead. I'm actually going to, before we get into the demo, let me go ahead and stop sharing for just a second. And I am going to pull up a quick little video for you to show you what I mean by this, this sidebar. So as of right now, if I open up my Buildaible app, let's show you what the current version of it is right now. Just signing in. I'll share my screen here. So I'm just signing into Buildaible, to our Buildaible account. If I go into any one of our applications, go into our Simple Marketing Manager that we worked on last week with our in our office hours. So I'm in this application, and I can see the sidebar right now that allows me to click on my tables within the app. It allows me to click here to add a new table. I can see the application that I'm in, and I can change to another application if I'd like to from here. I've got my reports, my dashboards, my settings, and my share button here. But when you go and click the three little lines up here on the top left, that reduces your sidebar. Your sidebar goes completely away. And that was the question that we had last week on our office hours, is like, how do I get my sidebar back? Currently, you can click on these three little lines again, see all the functionality, most of the functionality. You don't see the reports and dashboards, but most functionality. And you can click into it from the sidebar, and that sidebar stays collapsed. But if you would like to bring it back currently, you click this, the three lines, and then you click expand sidebar, and that brings your sidebar back. Based on the feedback that we received last week, we put our programmers on it to improve this functionality so that the sidebar does not fully go away. To do that, I can show you a demo video here of what our programmers have been working on. Now, this is not in our product yet, but it will be in the product here shortly. As you notice, that is going to be the streamlined version of the sidebar now. So yes, you will be able to collapse it, but it's not going to collapse and go away completely. You're still going to have the icon of the application that you're in. You're still going to have your plus button here to be able to click and add tables. You're still going to have all your tables that you can click on. And then you got your reports, dashboards, and settings down here that you can still click into. And I can play this little video just to give you an idea. So if you hit that, it opens. The three dots, as I mentioned. I know this video is somewhat fast, but that allows you to collapse and minimize the sidebar. So I just wanted to show that off because that was part of our office hours last week. And I just wanted to show, customers that may not have attended, the power of getting that feedback and how fast we are willing to jump in and start implementing some of these features into the system. Now, not every feature may be implemented that quickly, but that was a feature that we all agreed on as a team internally that would be a better experience for our customers. And we got on it and have now almost implemented it in less than a week. So you as customers are really going to drive this product. I would just want to hammer that point home. Like on office hours last week, drinking tea. So take a little sip of tea, and then we're going to get into the demo here. So on today's demo, I wanted to talk about importing data into the system. Now, I went ahead, and I'll throw this out there to anybody else that doesn't know about this, but I went ahead to this site called Macaru before our call today. And Macaru is a cool little site, very easy. You can go through and you can actually create spreadsheets of data and choose what type of data you want in that spreadsheet and how many rows of data. So very, very simple. So what I did was, before the call today, I actually went out and I created this spreadsheet right here that has some mock employee data in it. Now, I just included about 50 employees, and it's just some basic data. So we've got employee name, we have their date of birth, their home address, cell phone, email, date hired, and if I didn't zoom there, their shirt size. So that's some base employee data. Obviously, you could have more data about your employees, but we're just going to start off with this base data. So what we are going to do is we are going to start an application in Buildable, and then we are going to build a simple employee table into the system. After we've built that employee table into the system, we're then going to import this data in. Now, the goal of Buildable is get you out of spreadsheets. Well, how do you benefit by having this not in the spreadsheet, but actually in Buildable? One of the ways that you're going to benefit is that it's going to be a central repository. So instead of passing this spreadsheet around or having this spreadsheet sit on the SharePoint file that anyone can access, you would put this into a central repository like Buildable in an application that anyone can access from anywhere. That gives your company a single source of truth of that data. And as users make changes to it, other users are going to see those changes. Sometimes a spreadsheet may be changed, but someone else doesn't have the latest version of that spreadsheet, and they're not looking at the latest versions of that data. It can get very clunky in a business just constantly passing spreadsheets around. Now, Buildable can do a lot more than just take in the spreadsheet data. You can then build reports off of it, dashboards, and other things. But just in a simplified, putting a spreadsheet into Buildable, still providing you with that central repository that everybody can access, can be a big deal. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we're going to be implementing our mobile version of Buildable here in the near future. So not only will you be able to access it anywhere from your computer, you'll be able to access it anywhere from your phone. I can't tell you how many times, I've been out and about and needed to call one of my employees, and maybe I didn't have their phone number. And we have this in a central repository that we've built where I can access that at any time and contact them. Or maybe I need their date of birth, or I want to track, hey, I need to, send them something or update their employee information. Having one central repository to be able to look at that information, or their payroll information, having the central repository to be able to look at that is very helpful, rather than just dealing with spreadsheets. So to get started on this today, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm on my Buildable homepage. I'm going to go ahead and hit Build New App. And I'm going to go ahead and do Build It Myself right now. Our AI feature will be out not so distant future as well, but I'm going to choose Build It Myself. In this application, I am going to call it Employee Repository. And we'll make this one green. We'll give it an icon of her person. So that looks like an employee repository icon right there. So we'll go ahead and we'll create this app. And now that I'm in the application, it's going to ask me, well, what table do I want to create to start? So the only table we're going to create on today's call is going to be an employees table. Maybe in future office hours, we will further build out this application and add other functionality to it, but this will be the start of our employee repository. So I'm going to go ahead and create that table. And now it's going to come up and it's going to start asking me once I go in to start creating the fields. So let me go ahead and click Manage Fields, New Field, and I need to create some fields of data now for us to be able to import this in. Referring back to our spreadsheet here, we talked about the fields that we currently have, and I listed them off. So the first one that I'm going to create is going to be called employee name. Type it in, or I can just copy it from my spreadsheet and jump in here, paste that in, and I want that to be a text field. And this all looks good. Yes, maybe I do want it required. I don't know how many employees that I would import into the system or even put into the system that don't have a name. So let's make that a required field. Instead of hitting done, I'm going to hit the plus button here to go in and create a new field, another field. So let's go back to our spreadsheet and let's see, let's do employee date of birth. And that would be a date field. Make that required as well. and hit the plus sign to create another field. So now we've got home address. That we currently don't have an address field in the system, so that for this, I'm simply going to use a text field. And I won't make that required. Hit the plus to add another field. Jump back into our spreadsheet. And now we need cell phone. And that would be a phone number field. And we'll do the plus one more time. And we need email. So that would be an email field. So now, instead of, I understand that in my spreadsheet, I still need to create a date hired and a shirt size field, but I'm actually not going to create those right now. And I'll show you the reason why. When we go to import this file in, if you don't have fields for certain columns in your spreadsheet, you can actually create fields during the import process. And that's what we're going to do with those two. So we'll hit done here. And now you'll see on our employees table, we have the employee name, employee date of birth, home address, cell phone, and email. And I can hit new employee here and you'll see those fields appear. I have not customized this form yet, so they're just listed straight down the page, but you can customize the form, put the fields next to each other and make it look a bit cleaner. Maybe we'll do that at the end of this call if we have enough time. So now I want to go ahead and I'm going to import this employee data into the system. To do that, now that I'm on this employees table, I can hit the little down arrow here and select import data. And it is asking me to either drag and drop that Excel spreadsheet in or just choose a file. So for this, I will go ahead and hit choose file. And it's going to be my mock data file right there. So I select that. And it has now pulled that file in and it is displaying the information from the spreadsheet right in front of me. It has not imported that data into the system, but it's displaying it. It's displaying what it's going to import. If you noticed in my Excel, the first row is the column headers. That's not an actual employee. So during this process, we have the option where you can ignore the first row, which would be this information right here. So if I select that, that goes away. So it's not going to import in those column names. Now, the only thing you have to do before you import on here is choose which fields in Buildable you want each of these columns to go into. So we went ahead and we created almost all these fields just a few minutes ago. So the first field would be the employee name. So let's choose that from this dropdown. So that would be right here. And you notice when you choose an actual field for that column to go into, that column is no longer grayed out because it's telling you I'm going to import this data in. If I were to just hit import right now, it would only import this first column in. Even though it's showing these other columns, since I have not chosen a field for those, they won't be imported in. So you don't have to worry about only putting in a file with certain columns that you want to import. You can choose not to import certain columns if you do not want to. You can even choose not to import certain rows by unchecking them here as well. This next column is going to be the employee date of birth. Choose that. This next column is going to be the address, their home address. This column is going to be their cell phone. And then this is their email. Now, if I didn't just build this table and know that I was missing these two fields, if I was looking at this, I'd be like, oh, I need date hired and shirt size. I don't see date hired. Nope, don't see it. And I don't see shirt size at all. So before I import, I don't have to cancel out this import, go create these fields, and then come back and redo this. I can actually scroll to the bottom of the import process, which is right here, and click Add New Field. So the first field I'm going to add is going to be their date hired. So we'll hit Add Field. date hired, and we're going to choose a date field. And then I also know I need shirt size, so I'm going to hit the plus here and type in shirt size. Now, this one, I am actually going to choose a multi-select field, or a single select field rather, sorry. A single select field. And you can see in this data in the background here, I've got extra small, small 3XL, small, extra large. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a few options here. So we'll do extra small, small, say large, say XL. And then I want to leave this turned on to allow users to create other options. Because I know I'm not creating right now 3XL in there, so I want it to do that when it imports the data in. So we'll hit done. And now that I've added those two fields, now they should be in the drop downs here for me to choose. So I can now choose date hired, and I can now choose the shirt size. Now, if I'd like to, I can obviously review this data. I can compare it to the spreadsheet that I have if I'd like, or I can go ahead and just hit import. So I'm going to do that now. And all that data has now been imported into the system. And notice, I did not add 2XL or 3XL as options in this single select field, but because I allowed that field, the users to create new choices in that field, when the imported the data, it created those choices in those drop-down fields. So they're now listed there. So that is now importing data and creating, a central repository for one single spreadsheet in the system. I can take this a step further now and open up these individual records and make changes to it. And as I make changes to it and save this data, any other user that's now accessing this repository will see the updated data. And everybody will be working off of, as I said before, a single source of truth that is constantly updated. And you don't have different people looking at different spreadsheets that, have been updated and they're not looking at the updated copies. Since we have just a little additional time, I've done this on the other office hours, but I'll do it again today. I obviously don't love the look and feel of this form right now because I haven't customized it. So while looking at this form, as long as you have developer mode turned on and you're an administrator in the application, you can hit the little down arrow and edit form. And that allows you to drag and drop, reduce the size of some of these fields, and clean up how you want the form to look. I'm just going to do a quick customization here of it. Make it look a little cleaner. And maybe I would set it up a different way, but for the context of this office hours right here, that should work. Expand this a little, and we'll go ahead and save. So now, that's now how my form looks in Buildable for all the employees going forward. And I can make changes, edits, add additional fields if I'd like, and further build out this application. Like if I was personally building this application to track my employees, the next thing that I would think about would be adding maybe a table for, one-on-ones or interactions that I've had with them to track, meetings that I've had with my employees and track these various things so that when it comes to time for annual reviews, for raises, I had that in the system. I would also go ahead and probably add another table to track any employee documents. So, files from employees, their offer letter that they signed, their employee handbook that they signed off on, their, I-9, various things like that. Yeah, I would create, a documents table to track that information. Additionally, I'd probably add another table into the system that would track all of their raises and bonuses and a history of that. So I'd have that all in one central system. And the cool part about it is with Buildable and with the user roles that we have, you could have users accessing this application that can only see certain parts of data. You can segment off what they can and can't see. So maybe you want all your employees to be able to access this application and see everybody's cell phone and their addresses in case they needed to reach out to someone. But maybe you don't want them to see the employee documents, or you don't want them to see the raises and bonuses. With the user roles built into Buildable, you can make a role for them that allows them only to see the employee's information and not those other things. So that's the additional beauty of Buildable. A lot of times with spreadsheets and you're passing them around, once you send it around, everybody can see pretty much everything in it. So Buildable allows you to do those roles and those permission controls. So not only do you have the single source of truth, you have one repository that everybody can access. You can put roles and permissions and rules on there of who can see what data within the system there, so that it's streamlined and you only have your team seeing what they need to be, what they need to see to do their job. So that's the gist of what I'm going to do on today's office hours. You know, I know that was this will be a little bit of a quicker one today, doing a demo, showing off, talking about some of our product updates, showing off how to build this table, how to import data into the system. But what we'll do is you know, some of the things I just mentioned about this employee repository and future office hours, we'll continue to build this out. So it shows you how you can build a fully functioning application in Buildable that, you know, tracks anything that you need. You know, that's the beauty of Buildable. It can be used to build a system for anything and for anyone. And, you know, you get all the features that Buildable has to allow you to do that. So that's today's office hours. This will be posted on YouTube if you want to go back and access it at any point. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me. I love hearing customer feedback. J Lapier, Lapier at buildable.com. Send them my way, and yeah, hope to see you in future office hours. Have a good one.